I'm Shauna. I wanted to do a brief video and bring some awareness and a better understanding on what it's like to live life deaf and hard of hearing. I feel like this is something that needed to be talked about so people can just get a better understanding and maybe even gather some information from this video. Sorry. But for starters, I will say there is a difference between being deaf and there's a difference between being hard of hearing. When you're deaf, there is no residual hearing at all in either ear. So in these cases, people will communicate by sign language, maybe reading lips, captions, things like that. When you're hard of hearing, it means that you're either deaf in one ear, maybe the other one's fine. You could be partially deaf in both ears, or things like that. So in these cases, not everyone signs, but they also can read lips. I myself, I'm hard of hearing. I am completely deaf in my left ear and I am going deaf in my right. And to give you guys a little background on me, I will start by saying I was about 5 years old when I lost my hearing in my left ear. I had a fever about 105, and the doctors believed that that struck a nerve and, impaired my hearing. So growing up, I would wear hearing aids here and there, but I didn't really like wearing hearing aids like that because I was embarrassed. Kids are mean, they make fun of you and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't want to wear these things. So I would purposely lose them. And my mom would have a fit, boy, them things expensive. But I also noticed that as 2017 hit, I am now an adult. I am 32 now. So 2017, I noticed that I was starting to put hearing aids in my right ear, and I was like, that's not me. Like, I don't wear these. What's going on? So I went to my doctor and, found that my hearing had dropped a little bit. So I got new hearing aids and they seemed to work pretty good for, the first few months. And then I started noticing that everybody was sounding like mice or like they were underwater. My ears were ringing even more and things like that. So it didn't seem normal to me. So I went back to my audiologist and then found out that I now needed a cochlear implant because my hearing from the past 3 months had just dropped significantly. So I am now in the process of trying to get a cochlear implant, and the process for this is so long and dreading. So y'all keep me in your prayers that everything goes well and I'm able to get this surgery. With the cochlear implant, it does not restore your hearing, but it does help you understand words better than what you're able to do or what you're not able to do now. So this will be a great surgery. I've heard of a lot of people who've gotten this surgery from a group that I actually follow. They love it. They said their life has changed and it was the best decision they ever made. So I'm really excited about, getting this if all goes well, and really think that it will help me in life, and it won't help me get back to where I used to be, but it will help a great deal. And the loss with my hearing, the doctors, I don't think anyone really knows what really happened with mine. It just vanished. But they're saying this one may be hereditary, but no one in my family is deaf. So I kind of find it kind of hard to believe, because if ain't nobody in my family deaf that I know of, then I don't think it's hereditary. But I'm not a doctor either. So let's get into explaining the different types of deaf and hard of hearing, the worlds and things like that. There's basically different types of hearing loss as well. I'm not sure what the other culture, what the other, let's say the other sayings for different losses that they have, but I know that mine is neurocentral from what the doctors have told me and things like that. And I think other ones can come from diseases like meningitis, can be a part of hearing loss. It's a lot of different things that can happen to you that can cause you to lose your hearing. You can be born perfectly fine, and a few years down the line, you can be deaf. You can be born deaf, and that's all you know. It's a deaf world. Now, the deaf community does have their own community. There is, of course, like the hearing world, that's their world. Then there's the deaf community, where the deaf community likes to kind of keep in their circle of just dealing with people who are deaf and who only sign and things like that. So I haven't personally dealt with anyone who's in the deaf community, but I've done a lot of research and documents and things like that. And I've actually known growing up, I actually did know a few people, but it was never like going to like Gallup University and things like that, where they don't really want the outside of the hearing world, kind of really involved in it. They want to stick with the sign language and things like that. So, I personally don't like those boundaries because I feel like we should all be able to come together and kind of get a better understanding of each other and each other's way of life, and maybe find ways to communicate and help each other out. That's just me personally. Everyone's not going to think like me. I don't expect everyone to. But I do feel like even with the hard of hearing community, we don't fit into either world because we don't fit into the hearing world because we don't hear well. We don't hear perfect like everyone else in the hearing world. We don't fit into the deaf community because we hear some, and they technically don't really like that. So I'm not saying it's everybody. It's, everyone has their own preference on things and their own beliefs on things and stuff like that. But majority, that's how it is. But like I said, I feel like we should all be able to come together and just understand each other better, and shouldn't be so quick to judge people on what they're going through in life and things like that, because you never know. Like I said, you can get sick tomorrow, lose your hearing, lose your sight, be injured, get in a car accident, lose your limbs, anything. Don't be quick to judge people because they are different from you. Everyone's not meant to be the same. If that's the case, we will all be walking around here with looking alike, or being alike. And then what makes us unique if we're all the same? Everyone's unique in their own way because we are meant to be different. That's what we are, different, okay? So with that being said, I will say, even with the job community, when you are deaf, blind, or whatever, there is a barrier when it comes to finding employment. Basically, there's not enough technology out there when it comes to doing jobs when you can't hear. A lot of jobs these days, they want you to talk on the phone, they want you to deal with people, and it's kind of hard if you cannot understand what's being said to you. So for example, if your job is working in a call center, you're deaf, how you gonna talk on the phone if there's no captions? It's hard. And even with the captions, these TTY services and things like that, they're not always up to par. There is a delay. Like sometimes if someone's saying something, the words that come up may be slow, or it may be completely off from what they said. I've experienced. That's why I don't even really like using relay services or things like that. Communicating with people, if you cannot hear, you really misinterpret things sometimes, and maybe not even hear them. A lot of times I misinterpret things, or I'm not heard, or I'm not hearing what's being said. So I have to require people to repeat things. A lot of people get agitated with that. That's understandable, but understand me also. You can't get mad because I can't hear you. Like, come on. You cannot get mad at someone because of their inability to do something. It's not their fault. It was not done on their behalf. Things happen to us that we can't change. It's life. So just try to be better at understanding people and try to work with them. I just feel like that's something that needs to be done, and people need to understand and stop getting all hostile because they can't do something that they can, or the same thing that they can, should I say. But I feel like like I said, we know with jobs there should be other ways to help people who can't do certain things, do different jobs. You shouldn't be, oh, well, you can't do this job, so you can't be here or whatever. We don't want to hire you because you can't see, or you can't hear, or you ain't got no fingers, stuff like that. Like, find something to help those people do a job at your company or things like that. Be sympathetic and kind of understand that, hey, they gotta make a living too, just like you. So if you don't want to hire somebody because they're deaf, that does not mean that they're unable to do the job and things like that, because a lot of people like to say the term deaf and dumb. Just because you're deaf does not mean you're dumb, okay? I'm going to put that out there for starters. That does not mean that you're dumb. We can still do the same thing the next person can do. The only thing is, we can't hear. But that don't mean that we can't see what's being said. So if I can email you, I will email you invoices, whatever you want me to do. If whatever my job is, whatever can help me do my job better, and still allow me to do my job and still have me maintain my employment, I'm going to do that. But just help me too. Help me help you, put it like that. So I wanted to bring certain things like that up. I will get into things like technology. I do have some technology things that I will eventually do videos on and show you guys how that works. Maybe even bring you guys along with me to appointments, if able, so you guys can see how that goes. That's stressful because even with this COVID-19 stuff and people wearing masks, it's a pain in the butt. I will tell y'all that. Like, people be wearing these masks, and imagine, like, if you can hear still, people still have trouble. I've people who are hearing friends. I have, everyone in my family is like hearing, my friends and all that, they're all hearing. So even they've said, yeah, I can't even understand what they're saying because these masks. Imagine, like, if I read your lips, right? I'm deaf. You got on a mask and you talking to me. How is this looking like? Hey, how you doing? How's your day? Things like that. You can read what I'm saying. When your mouth covered, I can't understand you. So don't get mad at me for that. Okay? So that's what I wanted to do this video and kind of explain, because I've noticed that the more and more that I go through this stuff, the more and more it kind of irritates me when I see that people are so quick to get hostile at you because you cannot do things that they can do, or they want to criticize you because you cannot do things that they can do. And I always tell people the same thing. Do not sit here and criticize me because I'm unable like you. Because tomorrow you can wake up and be in the same boat as me. I'm just saying. But I really want to start documenting journeys and kind of giving people an insight on things and getting more into explaining our way of life, what we do, and how we cope with this. So for now, this is just my intro video, and I will be back for more. Bye, guys.